Hey everybody, this is Frilioth and welcome to another Minecraft video on the Frilcraft server. Right, you left me the other day having just put Johnny into the slime farm and he's doing an absolutely fantastic job. So we'll have a quick... Oh, look at that, just on cue. Little fellas don't seem to last very long. They die when they fall in. That's a problem I will sort out. But however, he's doing a fantastic... We still get slime balls for that, even if they fall and die on the floor. So there's not a worry there. But as I say, he's doing really well, and I just want to show you how well he's doing. So whiz around the back. We've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7.5 stacks of slime balls. So like I say, he's doing fantastically well. And we know how well these guys are doing because we've looked at this before. These guys are working a treat. This guy... This Johnny, he's getting me loads and loads. Got to figure out what to do with feathers. Can you make duvets out of them? Maybe. He's getting me loads of raw meat for the trades with the butcher in the trading hall eventually, and loads of raw chicken, loads of eggs in case we ever need to make any cakes, because everybody loves a cake, and he seems to be doing fine. And the fellow up here, he's doing okay. He was lagging behind a little bit the other day, but he seems to have caught up with himself, which is really, really good. Now, what I want to do today, I've had a problem with mobs spawning inside the mansion, which is not very good when you've got villagers in here, especially if they're zombies. I've had to put a gate on the front. I'm not sure whether I showed you that before, because of fellas like him. Where's he gone? I heard him earlier. There was a zombie outside, fellas like him coming in. So what I want to do is light this place up, but I don't want to put torches everywhere. I hate having torches all over the place. It's horrible. So what I want to do is that I want to strategically place torches underneath the carpet, probably where the pillars are, and in front of the doors, like that, in front of the windows. Okay, and if I do that all the way around, I should then be able to get rid of, and in the corners as well, just there, I should then be able to get rid of all of the lighting, all of the torches that I've just lobbed down on the floor to try and light the place up a little bit, and only leave the ones that came with the mansion originally, and the little chandelier things that stick out of the walls. So that's what I'm going to do first. What I also want to do when it gets a little bit lighter, I got some pumpkin seeds out of a few minecarts when I was investigating and lighting up all of the tunnels below me in order to get the slime farm to be a little bit more efficient. So I've started growing some pumpkins. I'm going to go out there and harvest those when it gets light and then replant them. Oh, there he is. There he is. Replant them so I can eventually replace the torches I've got on the slime chunks downstairs. Anyway, I've got torches all over the platforms where the slime spawn. Again, it looks pretty ugly, so I'm going to get rid of those, and I'm going to replace them with jack-o'-lanterns, because jack-o'-lanterns are the only solid light block that slimes will spawn on. So if I replaced them, the torches down there with glowstone or with sea lanterns, that would be a spot that the slimes wouldn't be able to spawn on. Whereas if I replace it with a jack-o'-lantern, the slimes will be able to spawn on it. So I can kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. I can light the platform and keep the optimum amount of spawn spaces down there. Right, where did I get to? Around here. I think I got to the corner. Did I get to this far? I got to this far. So I'm just going to quickly run around robbing banks all whacked on my Scooby snacks. And I'm going to replace all of the carpet around here with a bit of lighting. And then we'll run off and do something else. I love that guy. Love you, Johnny. Right, I've done that. I've done the entire ground floor. So I'm happy about that now. That makes me happy. I've still not done the rooms yet, but obviously I can't do the rooms till I know what's going to go in them. And this is probably coming out anyway to make room for the staircase, which has got to go up here. I'm not sure yet whether to have one that goes straight up and then around, or whether we come in and there are two that sort of go around in a big semicircle. I don't know yet. Don't know. Not sure. Not sure. So we've done that. Let's run outside while it's light and sort the pumpkins out. I did, didn't I? You idiot. Wielding an axe when I don't know what I'm doing. I need some more pumpkin seeds. So what's the best way to do this? Oh, I'm sure this is not the right way to do it, but I don't want to be out here too long. Right, then grab a bit of bone meal. Bone meal these bad boys up. Oh, See, it's handy having torches in your hand sometimes. Sometimes pain in the backside. Did I just break that? Did I break it? I didn't pick it up. Crikey, Frills. How long have you been playing this game? Don't you dare flatten that land. I've also got myself all armoured up as well because I'm outside. Come on, fella, nearly there, nearly there, nearly there. Whoops. Hey, look at that pumpkin already. Hopefully it won't take too long. We'll be making a pumpkin and melon farm in here sooner or later. Look at that, he's off and running. I do need to light up outside as well. Oh, you might have noticed I've replaced the glass in the front after the poll we had on the server. The majority of you decided that I really should go with the black glass, the black panes, and I wholeheartedly agree. I think it looks brilliant. And I've put a window through here. I've put a window in Johnny's room as well over there. So when you're outside, you're going to be able to see in, which I think is going to be a nice little touch. Now, my next job, really, my next big job, I've got a few to do if I'm being honest, but the next main one that I've got to do a little bit of groundwork for is a mob grinder. But I want to use Johnny the Vindicator in a mob grinder, and that is not going to be easy because unlike slime, other mobs fight back. So the minute Johnny whacks a mob, it's going to get aggroed and it's going to attack Johnny. It's simple as that. So I need to do a few things in order to make him a little bit safe. You see, slimes won't fight back, but every other mob does. So in order to stop him from dying, we need to drop the mobs down at least 20 blocks. That should get them all down to less than 1 heart. Now, they're not initially aggroed at Johnny. When they won't get in the same room as him, even if he's wielding an axe. They won't get into the same room as him and start attacking him unless he attacks them first. And because his axe is so OP, he can usually one-hit kill them. The only exception to that are witches. So if I drop a witch down 20 blocks, if he gets to them first, before they get a chance to drink a potion, he's fine. If he gets there second, they're a 2-hit kill. So depending on how quick he can whack them, there is a chance that a witch will be able to throw a potion. And if a witch throws a potion at him, and it also hits a skelly, for example, or a creeper, then the creeper will get aggroed at the witch, or the skelly will get aggroed at the witch. There's going to be absolute mayhem in there, and Johnny tends to come off worst in the long run. Now, I'm hoping, well, I've got an idea. My plan is to get some kind of system in the Vindicator Johnny killing room, which is probably going to be here, because this is one of the few areas in the mansion that's got 3 stories. So you've got your penthouse right at the top, where I think I'm going to be putting the dark room, and then you've got the drop into the killing area, which is going to be here. Somewhere in here we're going to need some kind of potion dispenser that's going to dispense a potion of healing that will do on a timer, maybe once a day. It might have to be a little bit more often than that, because not only will Johnny take damage from witches if they repair themselves and start throwing potions about, he'll also take damage off mobs wearing Thorn's armour. So any mob that lands, even if it's a one-hit kill, if Johnny whacks it and it's wearing Thorn's armour, Johnny's going to take damage. And eventually, although they don't spawn with Thorn's armour very often, eventually he's going to whack one with Thorns, it's going to kill him. So that's why we need a potion dispenser in here in order to keep regenerating Johnny's health. And in order to do that, we're going to need a lot of glistening melons, and in order to get glistening melons, we're going to need a melon and pumpkin farm, which is probably going to be over there. We're going to need a gold farm, which I'm going to have to, I know I've got an overworld gold farm over by my old base, or by my main base, but that's quite a long way away. So I think I'm going to probably make one in the nether. So we need a gold farm in the nether. We also need a potion brewing room, which is probably going to be on one of the upper floors. Don't know which one yet. So I've got quite a bit to do before I get around to building the mob grinder, but that is on the cards. I'm testing as we speak, and so far, it's not perfect, but I'm getting there. So first things first, I think I'm probably going to need a gold farm. So in order to make a decent gold farm, I'm going to need to get on the roof of the nether. In order to get on the roof of the nether, I need to go and get my redstone equipment and some ladders. Oh, I don't like that. Why is it only happening on that? Oh, I know why that is. That's interesting, isn't it? I've put torches underneath all of these, and I'm not getting particle effects through the carpet. On this one, I've put it on the side of that block rather than on the bottom, because underneath it is gravel, and I didn't want to put it on gravel in case I moved the gravel underneath and it disappeared. However, it would appear that putting a torch on the side of the block allows particles to come through. Putting a torch on the bottom block doesn't allow particles to come through. Is that interesting or what? If we get rid of that and replace it with that, and replace that with that, that with that, no particles. Look at that, you learn something new every day. So I'm going to grab my gear and make my way to the roof of the nether, hopefully avoiding any lava. What level am I on? 95. I'm quite high as it is, so this won't take too long, I hope. Unless I run into lava, and then I'm going to be running off down the stairs like a baby. Brilliant. So now it's just a case of finding the correct place to go through. And as I've done this before, I've done this a million times before. We're looking for a block that's at 127. So I'm going to keep that's probably it up there. So if we have 3, we are looking at top left-hand corner, looking at. I'm not looking at anything yet. Need to get a little bit closer. Looking at 127. So that's the block I need to be in. Now normally, in the past, I've messed about with mine carts and I've done all kinds of stuff, but I'm not going to worry about that this time because I've got ender pearls. Now, in theory, there's a few up there. You see, this would be ideal. Actually, this is ideal for having the nether portal on the roof. If anybody's seen that video where I got an ender portal, working ender portal on the roof of the nether, this would be where I'd put it. So what I'm going to do is, if I ender pearl into here, my head is going to be inside 127. If I then jump up and down, I'll start taking suffocation damage, obviously. But if I jump up and down and then throw an ender pearl up in the air, when it lands, I should be on the roof of the nether. All things being equal. So here goes. I'm fully. Well, before you do this, before you do anything like this, make sure you've got everything you need to get yourself back again. And also make a hole. See? And I've made myself a little endermite, have I? I heard him. See, that was, in fairness, that was really, really simple. Really easy to do. All you need are 2 or 3 ender pearls. I've made him down there. As soon as I open up a hole in the nether, he's going to be there waiting for me. So now we need to find where we need to dig back through again. 1167 1167 minus 461. So it's this block here. 1167 461. Yeah. So I need to set up all of my... I can hear him, little fella. I need to set up my rails, my exploding minecart, the gizmo that's going to break through the block. I'm not going to show you all of that because I've done it 3 or 4 times on my channel. So I'll meet you back here when I've made a hole in the nether. Okay, so if everything has gone according to plan, that should make me a hole in the nether. There it is, a hole in the nether, exactly where we wanted it. Perfect, so now we've got a way of getting up. Now I need to build the Mahusive gold farm, which is probably going to just be a massive circle, because they seem to be the ones that work the best on 3 or 4 levels. I stand in the middle, shoot an arrow at, or throw snowballs at a pigman. They get aggroed, run towards me, fall down to their deaths, and I collect all of the goodness. I might even have it where they run into the middle and just get crammed with minecarts. That way I can keep all the XP for myself while I'm up there. So that's probably what I'm going to do. Happy days. Okay, I've had a change of plan, because I really wanted to get something finished for this episode. I don't want to just leave it with me building a massive stone structure, because it's probably going to be made out of stone to start with in the nether for the gold farm. I wanted to complete something. So what I've done, I've moved all of my chests, my ender chests and my other chests, from this room, and we're going to turn this room into our pumpkin and melon farm, and we're going to incorporate this room and the room above it, although the room above it is only half of this wide, and then the one next to it is double wide, so we're going to have to adapt that room upstairs. But we're going to have a wall, that wall completely full of pumpkins and melons, and that way, hopefully in a few days, well, definitely in a few days, I'm going to have pumpkins and melons coming out my ears. So if I get the stuff that I'm going to need, I'll put jump 2 on my beacon as well, because when I'm building I love having jump 2, and I'm going to need it in this build as well, because I'm going to need to be able to jump at least 2 blocks. What else do I need? I'm going to need a hoe. Will a wooden hoe do? Do you think? I've got a diamond hoe somewhere. What have I done with my diamond hoe? There it is. Trusty diamond hoe. Now I'm going to need the dirt. Now this is it's a pumpkin and melon farm that I've used lots. It's the best one I've ever seen. I'd say that because I built it, but it is. And I'll just give you a quick demo in case you've never seen it before. So I'm going to need some dispensers, I'm going to need some sticky pistons, and I'm going to need some solid blocks. Right, so if I can remember how to do it, here's me bigging it up. Right, we need one, that there, that there. That there. Then we need a solid block just there. Observer, that block, repeater on here set to 2 ticks. Now every time something, if you can imagine, this would be, that's dirt where the pumpkins are going to grow. Pumpkins are going to be here. It's going to grow onto this block. When it grows onto that block, the quasi connectivity that detects that there's a change in state of that block there. So it sends a signal by quasi into that piston, which fires that block out on a 1-tick pulse. So it leaves it behind, which updates that observer, which puts a signal through that block. We slow it down into a 2-tick signal, otherwise that piston would force the observer out and leave it out. So we convert it using that repeater there into a 2-tick pulse. So it pushes the block out, pulls it back again, and breaks the pumpkin. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't work in Better Together or on the PS4 or the Xbox, because quasi connectivity works differently on the PS4 and in Better Together, and it also breaks in 1.13. So this will work fine in 1.12, but it won't work in 1.13. But I'm in 1.12, so I don't care about 1.13. So this is how it works. So I'm going to build this all the way along this back wall, and I'll do the one along the back wall at the bottom first, and hopefully we can see it working, because I also need to dig a water trench for the ill-gotten gains to go down. So I'll do that, and I'll be back here in a minute. Okay, so I've got the bottom run in, so we'll lob in. I've put some ice down. Normally I would have used compressed ice, but I don't have any here, and I, to be honest, can't be bothered to run back to the base to get any, or go all the way over to the ice spikes biome. So we'll have to make do with ice and hope it doesn't melt. So we want that there, there, and there. We want to put a sign in the middle so the water stops. So now anything that falls off these platforms, it's going to land in the water. It's going to push it down into there. And we're going to have our collection area, probably some hoppers going off, maybe some storage chests on. I could probably put some storage chests on one side for melons, on the other side for pumpkins, have a bit of a sorter underneath. Now we need to hoe the ground. Get out my trusty hoe. Now, contrary to popular belief, pumpkins and melons do grow. They will grow on farmland that is dry, but they'll grow much better on farmland that is hydrated, and also they'll grow better if they're surrounded by hydrated farmland as well. So I could make this even more efficient by having, where the water is now, by having another layer of hydrated farmland covered in water, and then the collection area over here somewhere. But that does make it a much bigger structure, and to be honest, this is going to be as efficient as we need it to be. But this, you'll have to just take my word for it. I've done the testing. Having hydrated farmland around your pumpkins and melons just makes it more efficient, although they will grow if they're not hydrated. So we'll have a pumpkin there, we'll have a melon there, pumpkin, melon, pumpkin, melon, pumpkin. And get those bad boys grown up. But actually, before I grow them up, I need to put carpet on the back of that farmland there. If we put carpet there, that remains farmland, which means that they grow more efficiently, but it stops the pumpkin growing backwards or the melon growing backwards into that gap. And I've used red because it fits in with the theme. So we've done that. Oh, I've also put glowstone on there for lighting. You can't use a torch, obviously, because it'll pop off because it's a piston. But you can't use a jack-o'-lantern, and you can't use a solid block. So if you're trying to replicate this, don't use a solid block. I'm hoping that won't melt the ice, actually. Hopefully it's far enough away. Don't use a solid block there or a jack-o'-lantern. Otherwise, it messes up. It messes up the observer at the front. Now, that bit of farmland there will turn into normal dirt once the pumpkin's grown on it. There's nothing we can do about that. It's just one of those things. Now, in order for these to fly forward, if they get popped off, there's a chance they'll pop upwards and go back, they'll go up and left and whatever. We want these to come straight out the front as best we can. Now, we're not going to be able to do that 100% perfect, but by putting glass above it like this, not like that, like this, then really the pumpkin, fruit or vegetable, depending on which one it is, can pretty much only come forward. Obviously can't have that there, otherwise the ones above it aren't going to fall down. And then we just put glass over the front. And that's pretty much a level done. We need to duplicate that now all the way up. The only difference being we can't put water on the front of it. So in order to get the farmland... Have we already got one? We've already got one. Look at that already. Pumpkin. In order to get the farmland on the other levels hydrated, we're going to put a column of water running straight down through the back, where that hole is at the back. If we started at the top, it's going to run all the way down. That's going to hydrate all of the farmland. So I suppose I ought to stop talking and start working. Okay, there we have it in its full glory, and it's fitted much better than I could have hoped. Really has. I was wondering whether or not I'd have enough room to get a line of fruit or veg at the top, and I have, and it's fitted in perfectly. I left the windows in around the sides because that just makes the building look the same from the outside. You won't be able to see a great deal, but there you go. So it's working. It's working great. Now, every so often, you will get a pumpkin or a melon will sort of pop, but stay on the platform. And there's not a great deal I can do about that. And I'm not too worried about it. It'll sit there for 5 minutes and despawn. The only problem is if another one pops out next to it, it'll sort of join together. So you might get 3 or 4 stacked on top of each other. And that's another benefit of having pumpkins and melons and pumpkins and melons and pumpkins and melons. So far, I've not noticed it happening. But I've only been sat here... well, it's taken me about, I don't know, 3/4 of an hour to do. So I've only been sat here for an hour or so. But so far it seems to be working fantastically well. And every so often you will get a pumpkin or a melon grow in front of the observer, which will pop it out. But then it'll grow again almost straight away in front of the observer. And the observer won't detect it. So every so often... And it won't happen very often, but every so often you're going to get a pumpkin or a melon sat in front of the observer, and it's just going to sit there and do nothing. And that part of the farm will then be broken. So what we're going to have to do for that is either rig up, and I don't think I've got enough room at the back now, is rig up a daylight sensor which will power them all once a day, which I've done in the past, or we'll just have to put a ladder up the other side and then just go in and manually get rid of it. I'll see what kind of problem it causes me before I decide the best course of action to take. But anyway, I'm afraid I'm going to have to call it a day for today, everybody. We'll work on the storage area for this in the next episode and probably start the gold farm, although that's a big old job. I don't envy that, and I've got a gold farm anyway, so maybe I'll just be really boring and go over an AFK at the old gumball machine to get myself some gold. But this farm is working brilliantly, as I expected it would do. So thank you very much for watching. It's been brilliant having you along. If you have enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to leave it a like, and if you've really loved it, don't forget to subscribe for future videos. This is Frilioth in front of my new pumpkin and melon farm, and I'm out of here.